story.
In honor of our friend Curtis Boutinus the third, we are going to. I gotta see what order I put in. Let me go back to the notes here. Daddy's story is. Oh, what are you nerding out about? And I actually put in here Kurt's
No, it's
bad
not.
dad joke, but it's no. We're doing number two. Daddy, tell me a story.
Yeah.
Look, in his honor too, I brought out my whiskey barrel cup, and I filled it up with whiskey. So there's that. I don't pour one out for you. I'll drink one for you because I don't waste alcohol. Bob knows. But first or best memory of Kurt. So Joe, do you remember? I cannot honestly remember the first time I interacted with Kurt. Is probably from the helicarrier in the chat somewhere. Probably saw, he probably contributed that way, but I don't know.
Yeah, the first time I met him in person was definitely Dragon Con. The only time I ever saw him in person, really, was at Dragon Con. All of our other interactions were digital. But yeah, he had been kind of around, and he had been on other shows and stuff like that, and I knew his name and whatnot, but I hadn't really interacted with him until that first Dragon Con that him and I were both at. And so we got to sit down and talk and just, shoot the breeze and whatnot. And I learned real quick how he's very laid back and relaxed, and he gets along with everybody. So he was a good guy.
Joe forgets certain episodes that we have where Bert. I'm Ernie, he's Kurt. Let's do this. But where we kind of me a little bit.
But he doesn't. It's not mean spirited though. Like he would defend his opinion, but he wouldn't do it in a mean spirited way. There's a difference between debating and being ugly.
I got so many jokes. I can't pick one, and the one I want to land on is not for the show. So I agree. Absolutely. He was so infuriating sometimes though, because he wouldn't argue about some things. And not that I want to start an argument, but it's like you're hitting me with an opinion that you're presenting as fact. Now I'm trying to come at you that you're doing that, and he would just kind of, I don't know, wibbly wobbly his way out of it or somehow. He'd be like, well, when I was in the 80s working for Active, he was like, that has nothing to do with anything, old man Kurt. Get back on the argument. What are you doing? But I will say, one of my best memories of him, again, I think it was from the helicarrier that I was doing with Brian Ibbett, one of the first shows that really took off for me. And Kurt, I think he was getting into the chat and he was doing messages. That's probably how he came to my ecosphere, and I got to know him. I think before I get to the memory, he had started, they did from the helicarrier was a Marvel Strike Force. So they did a Marvel Strike Force 2 game, and he started a podcast about that particular run. So I got to hear him talk and see how he did things and different things like that. And I remember calling him, and I was doing, it might have been from the helicarrier. Yeah. Yes, it was. I think Klotz had already stepped away or whatever back then. I think Ibbett had to step away or something along those lines. I don't remember how it went down, but I remember sitting in my driveway and having heard, him talking about something, Kurt talk about something, and go, I think he'd be a blast to talk to on that show. And so I had messaged him. I had gotten his phone number because I said, I want to talk to him about stuff. And I'm not even sure. We'll answer that in a minute. I'm not even sure that we'd met in person at that point. But I remember saying, hey, just like I do, Joe, right? It's like, this is what's going on with the show. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm presenting it at. And, I'd like you to join me for that. And he had no idea. He didn't think that was going to be the conversation at all. He had no idea that was coming. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But I just remember how much he lit up and how much he talked and had fun and responded back. And I guess anytime I think of him, when I think of the early days, that's the first memory I really go to. And then we did that show, and we turned it into kind of two drunk uncles cracking beers and talking about the game. And then it went from there. He did the. Did you ever listen to his stories that he would read?
No, but he was reading those and recording them out there. I think his goal with that, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, was he wanted to read those for his grandkids and record them out for his grandkids.
Been, yeah.
Was what the
probably,
yeah, what triggered that, and so yeah.
So I believe David is from those days as well. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but a year ago, Kurt was killed in a. He was walking, doing his fit stuff, doing the 75 hard or whatever, and recording his vlogs and whatnot. And somebody under the influence of, I believe, narcotics or some kind of sleeping pill. They
were charged with being under the influence of something.
Basically, hit him from behind and killed him. So, hate to have to bring that up for you. I believe we have a speak pipe.
We do, yeah, from Devo.
So a couple of days ago, a friend of mine died, and I kind of, looking at the date, I realized that it was pretty close to when Kurt passed on us. And I was thinking a bit about the show and where the show has gone since then, and his influence since. And it's interesting looking back and looking forward at the small little things that Kurt influenced. And he even influenced in me. I think he influenced a lot of people. I will never be able to hear the word Blatro without thinking about Kurt.
Oh my God.
And I think if anyone holds a record, he holds a record. Into death, he holds the record, at least as far as I can tell. But it's a bittersweet. Looking back, I still see text messages between us in my messages, and I think back fondly every St. Patrick's Day and Christmas at the 3D models he made for me. So this is it's quite a thing to look back on, but I'm glad. I think the world's a little bit better. The show is better for having him on, and just good stuff there.
Yeah, he definitely had an effect on people. And for a hot minute, I was like, it's so weird to think how people interact with each other. And then I remembered, oh yeah, Kurt was on the show while John was listening. And so there was that. But there have definitely been times when, I might mention his name and somebody that knew him somehow would light up and say something. And I was like, well, how do you know him? Because he got around. He got into some communities. You remember, Joe, he was so proud. He was so proud of every time he'd go to Ron Funches' stream, he would donate like $1 to play some weird sound or something. To the point that Ron knew him,
knew his name, his handle.
Yeah. So that's fun. I know that's kind of short, so I want to throw out a few things here. One, I got to see the video of Bob doing his stand-up routine at the homeschooler talent show. The music was funny.
Rick rolled everybody.
Yeah. Did people get that? Did they pick up on it in the room?
I would assume so.
I would hope so.
It's hard to gauge the room from the video.
Yeah. Nice tight set. But then going back to last week, as I'm producing the show and getting things ready, I'm listening to parts of it. He gets it from your wife. Like she started off the show with, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was almost like, welcome to, it wasn't that bad. I'm not trying to make fun of you. I can't do what Bob does, but it's like, oh my God, that's like the adult, more refined version of what Bob does. Bob. I was like, oh.
Or did she get it from him?
I don't know, man. I don't know. So that was cool, but highlight of the month goes to the happy birthday buddy, Jebby, for giving us putting our logo on his poster and giving us a shout out at his presentation on owls. Dude, you're the man. That's what I'm talking about. I'll respect your dad enough to not share what he and I have talked about, but I think you're awesome, and I think I can shape that into a rock star if they let me. I'm just saying. What did you think of last week's show, Joe? You're awfully quiet. Were you embarrassed by your wife? Did you not approve of her?
It was a great show.
Really? Oh, now you say that when you know she's listening, and I had to shame you into
I told her last week that it went great. Oh man, Devo's wife came with so much nervous energy. Like even before the show started, she kept fidgeting with everything in the room. Like she reached over and grabbed a disco ball and then set it up behind her and just Devo said afterwards that she said that she had been super nervous beforehand, but she did great.
She was on fire, man. She was great.
Oh yeah. So yeah, they both did.
I wouldn't take a Zumba class from her because I couldn't keep up. So
yep, that's true. Rebecca Zumba.